Welcome to High Thoughts. I'm your host, ACOD24. Today, I just want to talk about the poverty rate in the US. Currently it sits at 13.4%. Um, Now, this number is based on a threshold from 1963, and that threshold is 13,465. So that has not been updated, raised for inflation or the cost of living or anything like that. In 50, 60 years, which is ridiculous. You'll see why as I go through all the data. In 1963 was a time when you can get a burger for 28 cents. The average cost of a burger now is $3.99. Cars used to cost $3,200. They now run about 31,000, maybe even higher. Average home prices were 12,650. Average home prices for a new home are now 154,000. So, even if you wanted to go to school, average tuition, a year at Harvard was $1,100. Today, it's 54,000. That does not include room and board, your books, things like that. So everything, has increased by at least 10 times. A dollar in 1963 is worth $9 today. That means if you were to take $9 from today and go back in time, you'd only have $1 back then. So we've actually lost money. Now, if you take that same logic that a dollar is worth $9 today, and we applied that math to the threshold they haven't updated, so that 13,465 times that by 9, you would end up with $120,000. That is what would be considered poverty today. Now, I was not able to get the exact number of the U.S. population that lives under $120,000. The closest I could get was 100,000. And that would put the U.S. poverty level at around 66.5%. That extra 20,000, who knows? You can get up to 70, 80% of the U.S. is below that. Who knows? We like to say, oh, look at our poverty level is low. It's only 13%. Well, how do they get that number? As you see, I just showed you. It should really be higher. So the government here makes things sound good. It makes you think everything's okay. Everyone is pretty much above the poverty level when you use those numbers. You could work a job full time for $10 an hour and you'd be way over the poverty level. It's pretty funny. They want to make you think everything's okay, but really you're living paycheck to paycheck. Aren't able to afford the cost of living, so getting a 1-bedroom apartment plus food, utilities, whatever debt you may have, it's pretty much impossible to work full time and go to school, to pay off the debt, so you don't, you leave school with no debt. That's not possible. The average rent used to be $110 in 1963. That's all the way up now to $800 at the bare minimum. It can go as high as 1,200, 15, 3,000, depending on where you live. It's getting kind of crazy out there. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, but they tell you you're not in poverty, that is why. It's kind of crazy to me, but it does make sense. You want to, make all of the population here feel like everything's okay, which I guess is true. I'd rather be poor here than poor anywhere else, but that doesn't change the fact that you're poor. We're all playing this game where someone makes the money and then they tricked us into thinking that we can make that same amount of money. We cannot. Most people don't make it. Um, in fact, it's going to be a lot more homeless people in the future. It's only going to get worse as prices go up and wages are stagnant. It's going to be pretty impossible to even afford a home, let alone retire. The average age of retirement is 65, which is ridiculous. That means you work, from 18 to 65, and you're at best, you get 20 years, not including if you're healthy. Most people are not. They have all kinds of health problems by that age. So you finally get to retire, and now you're just going to the doctor and you're living in pain, which is kind of your own fault since you didn't take care of yourself. But I guess if you weren't taught to, based on your upbringing and things like that. But I would like to hear the economist's thoughts on this video. So let me know what you guys think as well. Subscribe to this if you enjoyed it or it made you think. That's what this channel's for, just to make you think. That's why I call it High Thoughts. Thanks.